I'm Jeet, and this is my Seafood Gunner Davis, and we are from the Tactical Defense Academy in El Campo. And we're here today to tell you that Contemporary JKD is the most cultured art out there. And it all really got started around 1964 when Bruce was at this martial arts expo down in the beach in California.
Bruce
Lee.
Yeah, you're on first name basis. Okay, good. Yeah.
He ran into a young man named Dan Inosanto, and he saw him working with these collie sticks. And he was amazed. He'd never seen anything like it before. So he went up and he talked to Dan, and he convinced Dan to show him a couple moves. And over that period of time, they bonded, became friends, and Bruce adopted Dan as a pupil. And over the years, they just went around the world, just pulling and absorbing all these different martial arts from all the four corners of the world. Sadly, though, in 1973, Bruce passed away and left the torch with Dan to carry on his mission to just refine and create the best style in the world. And some of the base arts that we use are Wing Chun, Muay Thai, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and Kali. And Wing Chun comes from China, Muay Thai comes from Thailand, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu comes from Brazil, and Kali comes from the Philippines. But there's one of these that holds a special place in JKD because it's actually the first art that Bruce learned, and that one is Wing Chun. It got it started around 300 years ago by a lady named Ying Wan. She was a Chinese Shaolin nun in the Shaolin monastery. The Queen dynasty actually came and burned it all down, and she was one of the very few people that escaped. And she fled to these nearby mountains, and from there she refined her technique, and she passed it down to this lady named Wing Chun, which is where the art gets its name from. And she used it to defeat this bandit she was going to be forced to marry. And so from there on out, it was just known as Wing Chun Kung Fu. And over the years, it got passed down to a man in Foshan, China, named Ip Man, and he mainstreamed it, blew it up. Years later, he went and he actually found Bruce and taught it to Bruce, and that was Bruce's first art form. And from Wing Chun, we get what we call the basic traps, and these are great for covering distance in a fight, and they're also very practical and work against almost anyone. So what's going to happen is he's going to throw a punch. You're going to lean back, and when he comes back in the stance, he's going to relax for a split second. And when he does that, you capitalize on it. So when you come in and you're ramming this arm into his stomach and popping him in the head. If you want, you can throw an eye gouge in there. So, and that's called a pop. But see, he had his hand up the second time because it's training. So if that happens, you bring this hand around, pull it down in front of his arm, pop him in the hand. And that's called lock. Pop is Chinese for pull. Lop is Chinese for, Pop is Chinese for push. And lop is Chinese for pull. And from there, if you're already there and the lop's out, you can just go ahead and bring him into your Muay Thai punch. And what you're going to do here, hand over hand, elbows tight, try and get up. You're not going anywhere. The whole time you can be tossing knees, headbutts, elbows, and all that comes from the fighting style of Muay Thai. And Muay Thai got its start in around 1774. These Burmese king decided to have a celebration in order to celebrate all these Buddhist relics that they had gathered. And they had a Thai prisoner of war. And they had him fight, I think it was 10 karate black belt masters in a row. And he beat all of them with his Muay Thai. Because in Muay Thai, using your hands, elbows, knees, and shins. Because Muay Thai actually translates to the way of 8 limbs. And so,
Of 8?
8.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so, basic Muay Thai stands from here, throw a Thai kick. Pull. And with Thai kick, a big misconception, using your shin, not your foot. Because shin is one of the strongest bones in the body. And so, From there, years later, Dan Inosanto in the 1970s, invited this Thai boxer to their gym, and he showed him the ropes. He's a world champion boxer. And they fell in love with it, and that's where we get our basic striking from. Now on to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It was founded by a man named Helio Gracie. He was a frail, sick little boy. He couldn't do anything. He had asthma. Everything in the book he had it. Couldn't practice. Couldn't do anything. So he watched all his older brothers do all this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over the years. And he memorized all of it. Once he got well enough, he streamlined it. He cut away all the fat and flab that he didn't need, and just pretty much got the meat and potatoes to make it very practical, very realistic for someone my size to be able to take down this guy. So one of the throws we have is called a judo throw. And if you ever get like locked up in a fight, you know, all you're gonna have to do is spin around, put your waist into it, toss it. You end up with your knee on his stomach from there. And that's an armbar. And so that's where we get our basic Gracie Jiu-Jitsu from. And like I said, almost anyone can learn it. You can do it if you wanted to.
It's so easy, even the teacher could do it. An old lady. Okay.
It is.
Thank you. Gee, what a compliment.
I don't know if you all able to do it, girl.
From there, we have our last art, my personal favorite, the dolly stick. What you're going to see Gunnar doing is an act called Carenza. And what it is, it's just basic free flow, but we have 3 movements that we put into this. X's, 8s, and abanicos. And what this does, brings out your movement, your mechanics, like nothing else. Because if he drops a stick, you can see him hit all the angles he hits with the stick, with his hands. And a famed boxer nowadays, Manny Pacquiao, uses this to bring out all these angles. That's why he's so good. But Kali actually got its start back in, I think it's the 1500s. The Spanish came to the Philippines and tried to take over. And they had 30-inch metal blades they'd ride around with and just destroyed the Spanish army with. And they actually lopped off the head of their leader, Magellan. And so, years and years and years later, it was passed to Dan Inosanto. He was born into the Philippines, knew all this stuff, and he taught it to Bruce. One of our drills, it's not practical in a real fight, just uses it to get you light on your feet, get you used to moving. It's called sombrado. It goes like this. And sombrado means counter for counter. Because you didn't notice, every time our sticks hit, I'm moving his hand out of the way, counter what he just did. And it just gets you used to moving and brings out your mechanics. And so, we've touched on 5 different arts, but a main misconception about Contemporary JKD is that we only focus on one art at a time. That's not true. If you were to walk into our gym, you'd see people throwing Muay Thai kicks, Wing Chun traps, Gracie submissions, and weapons, all in one little sparring round, like this. Start off with the sticks. Come in. Sombrado. Now we're in our side. So the kicks, punches. If I wanted to, I could go in for a trap.
Good boy.
Yeah.
And that's why what we do is the most cultured art out there, because minus these 5, there's hundreds of different arts that we throw in for time.
All right, thank you.
Woo-hoo! Got them.
Other questions? Then you make it look like dancing.
It almost is. Almost is.
Okay.
It's an art form.
Great, fantastic, thank you.